Hello everyone, welcome back to Cliff Soccer Zone. Today we're going to talk about Real Madrid's 2-1 victory over Atletico Madrid in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg. And in my opinion, this match was a great match to watch from a neutral's perspective, as both teams, you saw a lot of high quality football out on display, and how both teams were giving each other a go. A lot of people expected, especially away from home, that Atletico Madrid, especially under Diego Simeone, the classic thing he does is he tends to park the bus, as the proverbial term goes, and set up a very nasty low block. And a lot of people were expecting that, even despite the fact that at least this season Atletico Madrid has been a lot more attacking than they have under Diego Simeone in the past, they did not sit back in this match. They went at Real Madrid a lot of times, and there were points in the game where Atletico Madrid were the more dominant team over Real Madrid, which coming into the match, a lot of people didn't expect. But basically, essentially, to start the game off, Real Madrid starts the game off extremely quickly. Rodrigo receives an excellent through ball, then beautifully cuts the ball back onto his left foot, and as I said, beautifully curls the ball into the back of the net with a world-class finish. As in my opinion, he's of the Real Madrid front three, he's in my opinion the more underrated and less talked about amongst the front three of Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., and Rodrigo. But as I said, I think he's pretty underrated and doesn't get nearly as much hype as he deserves, because he's an excellent player, and especially for Real Madrid are going to be hoping to keep him along with both Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe for years to come, as that's probably like one of the more feared front threes in terms of, obviously we're going to have to see what happens this season and the years to come, but the way that they've been talked about is they've been put in the conversation with the Bale, Benzema, and Cristiano Ronaldo, or the Messi, Neymar, and Suarez level of front three. So we're going to have to see if they can eventually back up that talk, but that's what the talk is at the moment. And at least after that performance from, if Rodrigo can perform like that, and especially if Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe they all can perform, who knows, they can have a dominant performance and potentially win back-to-back Champions League, which, as we all know, Real Madrid are the kings of the UEFA Champions League, winning the competition a record 15 times, which is, especially for a lot of people, especially myself, being an Arsenal fan, having never seen my club win a Champions League, even just mentioning the fact that Real Madrid have won 15 Champions Leagues is absolutely crazy to me. But as I said, they are the kings of the tournament, of the competition. And as I said, Rodrigo doesn't get nearly as much attention as he probably deserves. And that's why a lot of people suggest that he should leave Real Madrid so he gets more attention. My opinion, I don't see why you would want to leave a team like Real Madrid, especially with the fact that he is going to get a lot more space playing with Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., because if you're a defender and you have to decide, of those front three, who are you going to try to focus on? Because if you focus too much on Mbappe in the going through the middle, you're going to leave space for both Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo. You focus too much on Vinicius Jr., you're going to leave too much space for Mbappe and Rodrigo. You focus too much on Rodrigo, you're going to leave space for Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. So it's a defender's nightmare having to go up against that much heralded front three. And as I said, I think Rodrigo should stay at Real Madrid, because I don't think he'll get anywhere close to the level of space that he will, that playing with those two equally as potent attackers as he is. And basically after that point where Rodrigo scores the opening goal, Atletico Madrid then come into the match and then are, for at least essentially the rest of the first half, Atletico Madrid, at least in my opinion, were the slightly more dominant team Then you have the experience of the Argentine international in Julian Alvarez, who also known as the Spider, by the way. But basically, he expertly takes the ball, dribbles it, and not exactly same, but similar to what Rodrigo did, but from the other side, beautifully curls the ball into the back of the net from a tight angle, and absolutely beautiful strike from Julian Alvarez, who Atletico Madrid, yes, they had to pay a hefty price for him to get him from Manchester City. It was worth every single penny to be able to bring a footballer as experienced as Julian Alvarez, and someone who, especially for a club like Atletico Madrid, who only occasionally will win a trophy here and there amongst the competing with the big boys in Real Madrid and Barcelona, bringing in an experienced winner who's won at every level that he's played at, winning at River Plate, winning at Manchester City, winning with the Argentina national team. He is a born winner and absolutely amazing player, and is having an absolutely incredible season. And one of the biggest indicators of how good of a player, in my opinion, to show how good of a player Julian Alvarez is look at how much Manchester City have struggled in terms of creating opportunities to get the ball to Erling Haaland and etc. Julian Alvarez is, if Julian Alvarez is still on the Manchester City team, in my opinion, they're doing not necessarily as good as they were during the treble year as well as last year, but they're certainly a lot better than they are now if they had kept Julian Alvarez. But the thing is that with Pep Guardiola, if a player wants to leave, he's not going to force the player to stay. So Julian talked to Pep Guardiola, said that he wanted a new challenge and to be able to play more. And Julian Alvarez actually seeked out advice from his Argentina national team teammate in Lionel Messi, and asked him what he thought about Atletico Madrid. And Lionel Messi gave him great words of encouragement, said that Diego Simeone would be an excellent coach for him, and playing for a club the size of Atletico Madrid would help showcase his talents, and he would get lots of opportunities to, as I said, to showcase his talent playing for a club as big as Atletico Madrid. And as I mentioned previously in this video, was worth every penny from Atletico Madrid. And a lot of the other signings Atletico Madrid have made this season have been very impressive. You're talking Conor Gallagher from Chelsea, who is a very typical Diego Simeone player, goes hard into challenges, very passionate player as well, understands the passion of the fans, being a former captain of Chelsea Football Club. He gets it. He understands what it's like to be a fan in all of that regard. He understands the passion of the supporters. You also have the super sub that they signed from Villarreal in the Norwegian striker Alexander Sorloth, who has been a real big game changer and Plan B striker for Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid. And as I mentioned, both incredible signings, and Atletico Madrid have been doing a lot better than people expected this season. But going back to the game, after the Alvarez goal, then Real Madrid takes back over towards the second half, and then Brahim Diaz gets the ball and beautifully hits the ball into the back of the net, and it gives Real Madrid a 2-1 lead, which, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily show it isn't a great indication of how even that match was. But as I said from the beginning, it was a great match from the neutrals' perspective. Jan Oblak keeping Atletico Madrid in the tie, making five crucial saves for Atletico Madrid to keep them in the tie, and essentially make it to where Atletico Madrid, going back to the Metropolitano, their home stadium, to still have a chance to be able to turn it around in the second leg, with them only being down 2-1. But as I mentioned, it was an excellent match from the neutrals' perspective. A lot of high-class quality football on display from world-class football players. You had Rodrigo showcasing his brilliance. You had Julian Alvarez showcasing his brilliance. You had Brahim Diaz showcasing his brilliance. Jan Oblak showcasing his brilliance. And the list can go on and on and on of all of the players that perform well in that particular game. But essentially, we'll have to see what ends up happening. It's looking like at the moment, based on the way the first leg happened in the Arsenal versus PSV match, it looks like whoever Atletico Madrid or whoever wins from that tie, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, they'll face Arsenal. As I mentioned, knock on wood, being an Arsenal fan, I do not think that PSV will come back from being down 7-1 in the second leg. And if they did, it would be the biggest comeback in terms of overcoming a deficit going into the second leg in UEFA Champions League history. And not just Champions League, probably European football competition history, period. Talking Cup Winners' Cup as well as Intercities Fairs Cup and all of that regard. I don't think anyone's ever come back from a lead like that. But essentially, as I said, the winner will likely have to face Arsenal, which will be an interesting match from the neutrals' perspective, in my opinion. But as I said, we'll have to see what happens in the second leg and go from there. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a like. You can comment. Also, it'd be appreciated if you could subscribe to the channel. You also could follow me on my Twitter, at Cliff Soccer Zone. That would be much appreciated. I tend to post a little more on my Twitter than I do YouTube, as I'm just starting the YouTube. But as I said, I'm going to try to keep up with both, do daily uploads, and give you guys content on various topics. So again, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Take care.